Okay, so first kita nak cakap pasal kita punya class. So first class kita ada character. So dalam character ni kita ada attributes dengan method lah kan. So untuk attributes kita ni, untuk character, dia protected tau instead of private. So protected ni maksudnya kita akan access in class and subclasses. So kita punya protected attribute tu name dengan health. Untuk kita punya method, kita ada constructor yang akan terima dua parameter. Lepas tu kita ada attack, kita ada take damage untuk kita kira berapa damage yang kita ambil. Dengan kita punya method yang tu akan display player ni akan ambil berapa damage. Lepas kita ada is alive untuk kita check sama ada karakter tu masih hidup ataupun tak. Next kita ada get name untuk return name dan kita ada get health untuk return health. Next kita ada player. Player ni akan inherit daripada karakter. Kita ada dalam private kita ada attributes inventory yang kita akan ambil daripada kelas inventory yang akan diterangkan oleh Kavinesh nanti. So untuk inventory tu dia adalah composition. Next kita ada public iaitu method. So dalam method ni kita ada constructor player yang akan terima satu parameter. Next kita ada method attack. Attack ni untuk kita randomize kita punya damage. So kita akan display berapa yang kita attack dekat enemy tu. Next kita ada use potion untuk kita punya player ni tambah nyawa. Dalam use potion ni kita akan tambah certain amount of health yang dia tak akan melebihi health cap which is 100. Dekat situ kita akan display player ni dapat berapa dan dia akan display current health. Next kita ada class enemy. Class enemy ni akan inherit daripada character. So the method untuk enemy ni kita ada constructor which is yang akan terima dua parameter. Next kita ada method attack untuk kita randomize attack damage kita. Next kita ada is defeated untuk kita check sama ada enemy tu dah mati atau belum.
So now I will explain about the class inventory as mentioned by the Mirza. So class inventory is to store items and resources of a player can carry. So in our game, the player can collect potions and various game items. Therefore, there is need of class to manage these elements effectively. So in this, we will define the class named inventory. It has a private attributes like potion count, max potion, and might have gold, and also items. So for the potion count is to store how many potion the player currently has, and max potion to set the potion limits. Also the items, a vector of string to store items names. So all of these are only can accessible if we have to use the method to maintain encapsulation. So like we have to use public method to maintain the encapsulation. So other than that, this class also have multiple methods such as use potion. Use potion is used to heal the player by consuming a potion, and it interact with the player's class, showing association, and also add items and remove item. Let us manage the inventory list. So other than that, also in terms of class relationship, we use composition between player and inventory. Every player has their own inventory. There are also possible association with other classes in the future. For example, shop and guest item, which is store the transaction of the item tracking. That's all from me.
The next one is game class. The game class is responsible for controlling the entire flow of the game. It connects the player and enemies for manage battles and ensure everything runs in the order from start to finish. This class doesn't reference the character or nothing. It's instant, it's coordinate the logics and act the brain behind our gameplay experience. Maybe we can use four main attributes. It is player pointer to the player object and a dynamic list of enemies in the game. Also track which enemy the player is fighting, and another one is control whether the game is active or has ended. The game also includes the following important methods, that is starts, begin the game and launches the main loop. The second one is span enemy with type and level parameters for adds a new enemy to the enemy list. The next one is battle for runs a full battle between the player and one enemy. Also all enemy defeated method for check if all the enemies has been defeated. The last one is ends the game for the shows the final result. And we also have to use a destructor to handle memory cleanup for dynamically created enemies. The term of object-oriented design, the game class uses aggregation. It's manage the player and enemies using pointers but does not fully own them. It also shows association between the player and enemy object because they interact directly in the battle method. That's all from me.
Okay, now let's move on to the final part of the discussion. It's about the summary of the relationships that exist between classes. So we have inheritance, association, composition, and also aggregation relationships. So let's go one by one, see what it is. Okay, so first inheritance. So like Mirza mentioned just now, uh, the class player and class enemy are two base classes that have inherited the class from the class character. So what does this means is both the player and enemy classes, they can reuse the core functionality or the methods from the character class, like take damage, get health, and also is alive. And they must override the pure virtual method attack in order to implement the RPG style or the combat behavior. So through inheritance, we are able to promote the code reuse and also allow a polymorphism to occur. Okay, how does polymorphism happens? For example, when you pass a player or enemy class by passing the character class by reference in function calls, so you can handle the combat mechanics flexibly. Okay, so the next relationship is association. So this exists between the player and enemy, where the player and enemy classes are able to interact during the battle was. Okay, so basically when we create an object from the class player, let's say the main character, and an object from the enemy, let's say enemy, so now these two objects are able to interact with each other during the battle by let's say by using the attack method, for example. So we can pass them by reference by using the character class. So this shows that there is a loose coupling and also bidirectional association. Okay, so next one is composition, where composition is a strong ownership relationship where when one class is destroyed, the other will destroy automatically. So this is a has a relationship, and this relationship exists between the player class and inventory, and also with the enemy class and inventory. Alright, this means that the inventory object is a member variable inside the player object. So when the player object is destroyed, it will automatically destroy also. The last one is aggregation, where two classes or two objects are independent of each other since they are hold by reference or pointer is used. So in this case, the game class uses pointers and it points towards the player and enemy classes objects. So this means that the game will manage these objects for gameplay logics, for example, for battles and etc. But at the same time, it does not own these objects from or enemy. So this means when the memory management is done or when the player is deleted, it is not 100% deleted. So we can reuse or share the same player or enemy character across different games and different systems. Uh, it just means that the game is deleted, but the player and enemy objects are still available. So I think that's all from me.
Okay, we can conclude our discussion. That's all.